Hey guys, Crypto Dad here again, and today I'm going to show you how to hide your cryptocurrency using your Ledger Nano S. So let's get going. So this video ran quite long, so I've provided a table of contents here for you. These are all the time marks for the sections that may be of interest to you. You will also find this down in the description so that you can click links to take you to the parts that you're interested in. Thanks again for watching. Okay, so before I start, I should warn you, this is not for the faint of heart. This is an advanced technique, and I'm warning you now, if you don't do this right, you might lose your cryptocurrency. So please, this is for advanced users only, so approach this with care. I've left a warning in the beginning of the video and in the description below. If you don't know what you're doing, please don't try this, because you could lose your cryptocurrency, and I cannot be responsible for any mistakes that you make or any cryptocurrency that you might lose. So having said that, let's talk a little bit about what we're attempting to do and why we might attempt to do this. So we can store cryptocurrency on the Ledger Nano S, and it is a hardware wallet that is safe and secure. But suppose someone forces us to open the Ledger Nano S under duress. So what we want to do is hide the cryptocurrency so that anyone that asks us to open the Ledger Nano S will only see small amounts that we've put there as sort of a decoy, or what we would call plausible deniability. So our secret weapon in this technique is going to be our recovery sheet. So this is a printout of the recovery sheet that comes with the Ledger Nano S. It's a 24-word recovery phrase. Now, before I get too much into it, I'm just going to go through a demonstration here that I've created that will explain in a little more detail. But this is our secret weapon. We can store cryptocurrency on a Ledger Nano S and then completely wipe it off. And the only way we can access those wallets is by restoring from this seed. So let me explain a little bit of what I'm talking about here. Okay, so we're going to use our Ledger Nano S to hide our cryptocurrency. Or what we would say, how to create a shadow Ledger Nano S wallet. Okay, I've talked about this. This is extremely dangerous. You can lose your cryptocurrency if you screw this up. Now, we want to make sure that you have your 24-word recovery phrase in a safe place before beginning this process. I'm talking about the original configuration, which I'll refer to in the rest of this video as our original configuration. This is the wallet as it exists now, and you want to make sure that you've got that 24-word recovery phrase so that you can restore it back to its original condition. Now, here's the principle behind this technique. All of the information on your Ledger Nano S is contained in the 24-word recovery phrase. So you can create multiple configurations on your Ledger Nano S, resetting it and creating a new recovery phrase and a new PIN if you want to. You could use the same PIN over again, but it's more secure to create a new PIN for each configuration. Your cryptocurrency is stored on the blockchain, not the Ledger Nano S. A lot of people get confused about this, and they talk about how much cryptocurrency will the Ledger Nano S hold. Can it only hold 100 Bitcoins, or is 200 too much? Well, that's not the right question, okay? Because your Bitcoins are not stored on the Ledger Nano S. They're stored on the blockchain. The Ledger Nano S holds the private keys that give you access to an address on the blockchain. So that's the principle behind this. The Ledger Nano S only stores the private keys that give you access to your blockchain address. All of the wallets on the Ledger Nano S can be funded even when the Ledger Nano S is disconnected, wiped, lost, or destroyed. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a configuration. We're going to note and write down the 24-word recovery phrase, and we're going to open it up and look at all of the empty wallets, and then we're going to make note of all of the receiving addresses. Then we're going to wipe the thing clean and send cryptocurrency to it. And you might say, oh, doesn't the Ledger Nano S have to be connected and online in order for you to transfer crypto on there? And the answer is no, it does not. As long as you have the receiving addresses, you can send crypto to multiple wallets all day long, even when the only thing left of this configuration is the 24-word recovery phrase. All right, so how do we create this alternate wallet? The first step is to reset our Ledger Nano S. And the way to do that is to enter the password incorrectly 3 times. And then we're going to be presented with a new, basically, and effectively, a new Ledger Nano S. And the first question it's going to ask us is, do you wish to configure this as a new device? And in this case, we will say yes, we would like to configure as a new device. There's on-screen instructions on the Ledger Nano S, which we will follow, which will allow us to start setting it up as a brand new device. We will create a 24-word recovery phrase and write it down. Then we will create several wallets depending on the type of crypto that we want to store in there. We'll maybe create a Bitcoin wallet, a Litecoin wallet, a Neo wallet, whatever we decide we want to create. Okay, and then the last step is we're going to create these wallets, and then we're going to make note of the public sending addresses on these new empty wallets. And then we'll copy these addresses into a document that we'll be able to access later. Okay, and once we've done that, once we've created our alternate wallet and made note of all our receiving addresses, we're just going to restore the original wallet. So we go through the same process. We reset the Ledger Nano S by entering the password 3 times incorrectly. And then we'll be presented with the welcome screen. But we're going to decline the configure as new device question. We're going to click the X and move on to the restore configuration. We'll use our 24-word recovery phrase, follow the instructions, and we're going to use that 24-word recovery phrase to restore our original configuration of the Ledger Nano S. Now we're going to be able to send crypto to our alternate wallet, which exists only as a 24-word recovery phrase. Now we'll store this in a safe place. Okay, now once we've sent crypto over there, remember I mentioned it doesn't have to be connected. It doesn't even have to be on the Ledger Nano S as a configuration in order for these addresses to receive crypto. So for those of us who like to see things, the optional step would be to restore that alternate wallet just to check the balances and make sure the balances got over there. And the way to do that is to reset the Ledger Nano S by entering the password incorrectly 3 times. We're going to decline configure as new device. We're going to choose restore configuration, follow the instructions, and then we'll use our alternate 24-word recovery phrase to restore. And then from there, we can confirm that the crypto that we transferred in is there. Okay guys, now that we're ready to begin, I've got my Ledger Nano ready to go, and this is my original configuration. So let's take a deep breath, and we're gonna do the reset. And the way we reset is by entering the pin. The way that we reset is to enter the pin incorrectly 3 times. So let's get going. So we disconnect and reconnect. Okay, and we're presented with the pin entry. Now, it doesn't matter really what pin you enter as long as it's incorrect. Okay, and we just need to enter the pin incorrectly 3 times in a row, and the device will become reset. It tells me that the device has been reset. We'll hit both buttons again, and then it does the restore your device configuration. Okay, it tells us to use the recovery sheet. All right, now here we are at the welcome screen. Now you'll notice there that it mentioned restore configuration, but when you're first when you get to the screen in the beginning, it's going to ask you, okay, it goes through the little, okay, so it says configure as new device. Now you would need to decline this to get to the restore, but in this case we're going to create our shadow wallet, or our our alternate wallet. So we're just going to configure as a new device. So we'll hit the plus, or I'm sorry, we'll hit the check, and we'll choose a PIN code. All right, and we're going to press both buttons to begin. Okay, so after the first initial welcome screen, you'll hit both buttons and choose Configure as New Device by hitting the button above the check. And the first thing it'll want you to do is create a PIN code. I like to write it down on a piece of paper first so I don't forget it while I'm entering it. And you use the buttons up and down to choose your PIN code. After the 4th number, you'll see a check, but I like to choose an 8-number PIN code. And of course, you'll need to confirm your PIN after you've entered it the first time. So just enter the same PIN code again. Okay, so now we're ready to move into the most important step of the setup procedure, writing down our recovery phrase. So as you can see, the first word is showing, and what we need to do is take our recovery card that came in the box, and we need to write down every single word in this 24-word sequence on the card. We'll use the buttons on the Ledger Nano to advance to the next word, and when we're finished, we'll have a total of 24 words written down on this card. When we're completely finished and we get to the last word, we hit both buttons and we're taken to the home screen where we see all of the default apps that come standard on the Ledger Nano. And after you've entered them all correctly, it tells you that the device is ready. And we can just hit both buttons, and boom, there we go. And you'll notice there that it takes you to that screen where the only app is the settings. So it's a brand new device, basically, but the settings are empty. Now, I'm not sure about this. I'm just going to take a wild guess, but I've upgraded this to firmware 4.1. It may not show you, it may have some default apps on there if you're running an earlier version. I seem to remember that the default apps were on there when you configured this new device. But either way, don't panic. If you see a few apps on there, just roll with it. They should be empty, of course. The first order of business then is going to be to add the apps that I'm going to need. So let's get going on that. All right, so the device is plugged in. I'm going to launch my Chrome browser. All right, so we'll go over here to apps, and we'll go to the Ledger Manager first. The device is connected and it's at the home screen. So the first thing I'll add is Bitcoin. And I'm assuming that it's going to ask for a confirmation, which I see here. So we just hit the button to confirm. And let's watch here as we go. We'll see both screens, processing, installing, all that good stuff. And there we go. You'll notice that now I have the Bitcoin app on the Ledger. And so you could stop here if you just store Bitcoin, but I'm going to go ahead and install a couple other things. I will install Ethereum, of course. All right, so I'm installing Ethereum, and this time it doesn't ask me for the confirmation because I just confirmed the Bitcoin install. Okay, and there you go. So now I've got Ethereum on here, and I'll go ahead and do Litecoin. So we'll just go ahead and put the big three on here. Now keep in mind that with the new upgrade, the 1.4 firmware upgrade, you can store, I believe, up to 18 apps on this now. More room than there was before. And so I encourage you to do the firmware upgrade. You'll see I have Litecoin on there. I encourage you to go ahead and do that firmware upgrade so that you'll have more room on your ledger for all those wonderful apps that you'd like to install. Okay, so after you've installed all of the apps that you're interested in, let's just close this guy down. And now we'll check the wallets. So let's go into Ledger Wallet Bitcoin. We'll try that guy out. I'll move this out of the way. So we need to enter into the app on the Ledger. So I've got Bitcoin selected. We can go back and forth. Got Bitcoin selected. I'm just going to click push both buttons. And that should take me into the Bitcoin wallet. So we click Bitcoin. And we can choose whatever. Let's say we choose Legacy. And you'll see, there we go. Nice, clean, empty wallet. Okay, we can also switch over to the SegWit if you want. And there we go, another nice clean wallet. So what we need to do in order to transfer funds into this shadow wallet, we're going to need the receiving addresses. Now the point of this is that after we're done noting all of these addresses and putting them in a safe place, we're going to wipe this guy off so that the only thing tying us to this wallet would be our recovery phrase here. So this is our shadow wallet, or what we might want to call our alternate wallet. It's our recovery phrase, but we can completely wipe it off the ledger, restore our original wallet, and then have access to our shadow wallet if we ever need to. But the only thing that we're really going to need for now is those public sending addresses so that we can fund our shadow wallet and keep that balance safe and secure and hidden. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to click into the Bitcoin, and I'm going to do a receive, and it needs to confirm. So you just look at the, we'll hit this, and we just want to confirm on the Ledger Nano that the addresses match. Okay, and we're going to take that address, copy it, and then I'm going to create a text file on the computer, and I'm going to name it receiving addresses. If I spelled it right, I'm not sure. All right, so we go in here. We're going to open up this little text file, and then we need to specify which address we're saving, and we could even call it SegWit if we wanted to. It's not that important. It's obvious that it's a SegWit address because of the 3 at the beginning. Okay, and so we just need to note a few of the important addresses on this. Let's see, I think I need to hit this to get rid of that. Yeah. Okay, so I get rid of that, and then let's get out of this wallet. We'll go back to Chrome. Let's exit the Bitcoin app by hitting both buttons. Back to the home screen here, and let's go over to Ethereum, and we'll click both buttons. All right, and then we'll launch the Ledger Wallet Ethereum. All right, we'll go whichever one is appropriate for you. I'm going to choose ETH. Now here we go. We got a blank ETH wallet, and so we want to do a receive. And this is our code here. This is the public receiving address. So we just go here to our little text file, and we'll paste in that address. So now we have sending addresses for our 2 major coins, and then you would just go on and do the rest of whatever coins make sense to you. I'll go ahead and do Litecoin. All right. And in order to access Litecoin, we're going to need to exit this wallet. We're going to need to exit the Ethereum app here. And so we go into Litecoin. We go into Litecoin here, click both buttons. And now that we've entered Litecoin into the Ledger Nano S, we'll go back here to the Ledger Wallet Bitcoin. I know it's a little crazy, but this wallet, this Ledger Wallet Bitcoin app, handles the altcoins. So you'll notice that when we launch the wallet, having chosen Litecoin on the Ledger Nano S, we get a different screen now because we've entered in. So let's say we want to send some Litecoins to a SegWit address. So we'll enter SegWit. All right, and there you see we've got an LTC 0 balance, and we're going to enter that and click receive, and we'll confirm on the device that the address is the same. This is a security feature to combat. I guess there were some hacks out there that were presenting false receiving addresses, and people would send coins to this address and it wouldn't enter the wallet. So they've added this security feature so that we can confirm that we're actually looking at the real address. So if your addresses don't match, you know something's wrong. You want to run virus check on your computer. So now I'm going to take this Litecoin address, going to copy it, and I'll go back over here, paste. And you might even want to make note that this is a SegWit Litecoin address. All right, so now we've got our 3 addresses that make sense to us. And we'll just save that. All right, we want to confirm this. All right, and there we go. Now, you could add whatever addresses you need. Keep in mind that if you've got ERC20 tokens, you really only need the Ethereum address we send ERC tokens to an Ethereum address. To view them, it's a little more difficult, but to send them, you just give it an Ethereum address. So we've got the addresses here that make sense for us. You might want to add more coins, whatever coins you have that are compatible with the ledger. You'll put those addresses down in this receiving address. And then I'm going to quickly add Vertcoin using the exact same methods that I showed you previously. Now Stellar is a little bit different, so what you're going to have to do if you want to get transfer some Stellar, you'll enter Stellar, and then you'll need to go to the Stellar website. What's that? Okay, let's see. All right, and then once you're on the Stellar website, you'll go over here to Wallets, and you tell them that you're using the Ledger, and use the account viewer. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and hit the sign in with Ledger. You know, it connects to the Ledger and it generates a new Stellar address. Okay, this is the public key. So I'm going to, what is this? Check address on Ledger. Oh, interesting. So I can click this and it should give me the address on the Ledger. Isn't that cool? So it's showing me the address, the Stellar address on the Ledger. So I can just confirm that that is in fact the right address. All right. And now that I've done that, I'm just going to go ahead and copy this guy. Whoops, boy. My mouse is giving me a hard time. Okay. So I'm going to select and copy that guy. All right, and then we'll go back over here. All right, so we've got Stellar, and then we have this nice long Stellar address that I've copied and pasted. Make sure I got the beginning and ending of it, and there we go. So those are some nice receiving addresses for these new shadow wallets that I've just created. Go ahead and close this guy out and save it, and then we'll just exit our balance, or sorry, we'll exit the web browser here. Now I'll also mention at this point that I do have these addresses on my computer, and that you know, for a true shadow wallet, if someone were to discover or gain access to my computer and see these receiving addresses, then they would know that perhaps I'm sending coins to these addresses, and would partially expose the fact that I do have a shadow wallet. So if you want to be super secure, you might want to just write this down on a piece of paper and keep it safe and, you know, disconnected from your computer. That's a little paranoid, but some of us like to be super secure. But it's a little more inconvenient to write these addresses down. You have to be very careful when you're writing them down by hand. So yes, I know I'm just dropped this on a text file on my desktop. I'm just trying to make it convenient for myself. But best practice for super security would be to write these down on a piece of paper. And keep in mind, when you send coins to the address, you'll have to manually enter the addresses by hand. So that will also add to the inconvenience. All right, so now that we have completely noted all of the addresses that we need, we're going to go ahead and do our reset and get back to our original configuration. Okay, and now we're going to move on to step 2, where we restore the original wallet according to the steps that I outlined earlier in the video. Now we've got those, so what we're going to do now is do another reset, and we're going to take us back to our original wallet. So let's confirm that little address there. We're going to quit the app that we were in, and then in order to do a reset, we're going to have to enter the PIN incorrectly 3 times. So we're just going to disconnect and reconnect the ledger. And we'll go through this bit again, where I told you you only need 4 numbers. All right, now the device has been reset again. So what we need to do is hit both buttons until we get to the welcome screen. Okay, we get it. All right, here we are. We're at the welcome screen. So we press both buttons. It gives us our little tutorial. Now in this case, we don't want to confirm this. We want to decline. We want to decline configure as new device. And then we want to restore configuration. All right. And it's going to ask us to choose a PIN code. So, you know, the easiest thing to do would be to just restore the PIN you were using before, because you probably already have that committed to memory, which I do. So I'm going to do that. Okay, and now that we've chosen a new PIN or the same PIN, whatever your preference, it asks us to enter your recovery phrase. Ooh. It wants us to enter the recovery phrase. Now, in this case, you want to go back to your original recovery phrase. This was the recovery phrase that you used to set up your original wallet, the default wallet, where we started from. Okay, so you'll want to restore that configuration so that you'll have access back to your original Ledger Nano wallet, Ledger Nano S wallets. Okay, so I'm going to take care of that. So as you notice here, there are options for the number of words for the recovery phrase. The Ledger Nano that I originally set up came with 24-word recovery phrase, so that's the one I'm going to use. Maybe some of the older ones came with less, but in this case we're going to choose 24. And then it asks us to enter the first word. And as you can see, there's an interface for the alphabet. You just go up and down. And you'll also notice that as you're entering words, it presents you with less choices. So in other words, as soon as we enter a vowel, or I'm sorry, as soon as we enter a consonant, it just presents us with vowels after that. So there are a number of words in there that it uses when it generates these seed phrases. It doesn't you know, give you the possibility of every single word in the English language. So you'll notice that as we start to complete a word, it narrows down the choices pretty quickly for us based on the letter that we're entering. So if you'll notice here, I think I'm about to enter the letter Y. And as I do so, it presents us with a completed word because there aren't that many Y words in its repertoire. So it gives us the choice of a couple of words here that begin with Y. And you simply choose the word. And then you can, after you've chosen that word, you can just move on. You also have the option of clearing the word at the end. Also note that once you've entered, say, word number 1 and moved on to word number 2, you can't go back. So you want to kind of be careful as you're entering your words to make sure that they are the exact same words in your recovery phrase. And but the Ledger Nano makes it quite easy once you've entered the words and started typing, that, you know, it offers you the option for a completed word. So it doesn't force you to type in every single letter of every single word. Makes life a little easier for you. And as you can see here, we're completing up word number 3. And once that's entered, we'll do word number 4. Okay, so the process is very tedious. And if you make a mistake, you will be able to go back. Now it says your device is ready. So if you make a mistake during the entry of a word, it will allow you to clear the word. But if you choose the wrong word and then move on to the next word accidentally, then you'll have to go back and start over again, which is very tedious. Now, let's say you possibly entered a wrong word and didn't realize it, and then when you got to the recovery, your wallet was empty. Okay, so that would mean that you accidentally chose a wrong word during this process, and it took that word and restored. It might tell you that it's an invalid recovery phrase. I've never actually gotten that far. Or it might recover to an empty wallet, or you might get lucky and it would recover to someone else's wallet, but I seriously doubt that. So if after you're done with this, if you don't see your original wallet, try again, right? All right, so I'm going to hit both buttons, and then you'll see there that it's back to only having the settings app. So let's just load the apps again. Mind you, this is our original wallet. So let's go over here to Chrome. And I'll start with Bitcoin. So we'll go over here, Ledger Manager. All right, and we want to start adding the apps back that we were using before. So I'll start with Bitcoin. And once again, I need to confirm that to allow it to do this installation of the app. And there, now we've got Bitcoin. Now I'll go ahead and just before I install the other apps, I'm just going to go over here to the Ledger Wallet Bitcoin wallet. And I'm going to enter in the Bitcoin app here. And let's make sure that we see our wallet. Okay, so I think I've mentioned this before. I've never been so happy to see an empty wallet before. But I can confirm that my original wallet has been restored. So there you go. Now that also would include all of your other wallets. So I'm going to go ahead and install the other apps for the other wallets. Oh, sorry. I need to be at the home page here, so I'm going to need to exit the Bitcoin app. Get in there. There we go. So we have to be at the home screen to allow these apps to install. So let's see. I'll go ahead and install Ethereum. It's processing. Alrighty, so now I should have Ethereum on there. So we'll just go down the line and install whatever apps you're using for your cryptocurrency. I'll put Litecoin on here, the big three. After the first install, you don't need to confirm anymore. It'll just start the install process. Okay. And let's see, what else should I put on here? I'll put Stellar on here. Yeah, we did Stellar before. In fact, maybe I'll go ahead and transfer the bulk of that Stellar into the Shadow wallet, just as an example. Why Ethereum is so far down on the list. Okay. Okay. All right. So now I'm back at my home screen, and I have. And then let's maybe check the balance of the Ethereum. Of course, this Ledger Manager doesn't work when you're in one of the apps, so you'll need to switch over. And let's check our Ethereum balance. And there we go, safe and sound, 2 Ether. All right. Okay, so now that we've gotten back to our original wallet, what I'm going to do, and I know this is horribly tedious, but we do not want to just willy-nilly transfer huge chunks of cryptocurrency without a small test transfer first. I know this is going to be time consuming because what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer small amounts of the different cryptocurrencies. In this case, I'm going to do 3. I'm going to do Litecoin, ETH, and some Stellar. But I'm not going to transfer the bulk of my coins into the shadow wallet until I've done a test transfer. Now, in order to confirm that that the transfer worked, I'm going to have to do another reset and restore to the shadow wallet configuration to make sure that those small balances reached the addresses. And then once I've confirmed that, I'm going to have to reset and restore back to this wallet so that I can do the remaining transfer. And I know that that sounds like a lot of work, but I have had so many people on my channel comment that they've transferred huge amounts of cryptocurrency, you know, their life savings from, say, Coinbase to a Ledger, or one of the exchanges to a desktop wallet, or whatever the transfer may be, without really testing doing a small test transfer first. And it would really, you know, for your own peace of mind, just do small transfers to test that you've got everything correct, that you know, you have the right address and everything, because anything could go wrong, and you don't want it to go wrong with huge amounts of cryptocurrency. The transactions are irreversible. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and transfer a small amount of ETH to this address. So we'll just go send. All right. And how much are we going to send? Let's see. I'm just going to send 0.1. Whoops. 0.1. Whoops. 0.1 ETH. Okay. I've got that. So let's go over here to our receiving addresses. And let's get that Ethereum address of our shadow wallet. And we'll copy that. Actually, why don't we rename this guy, huh? Okay, just so it's obvious what I'm doing here. All right, so like I said, we've got this Ethereum address. We're going to copy that guy. And now we can paste that into this. All right, that is the recipient address. But I'm going to go ahead and do this. You're going to need to confirm on the device. All right. And it says that the transaction completed. That's a good sign. All right. So now let's get out of this, and we got to exit the Ethereum app. All right, and then we're going to go into Litecoin. All right, Litecoin. We're going to go back into the Ledger wallet Bitcoin to deal with our Litecoin. All right, and I believe that the Litecoin that I currently own is, you know, on a standard. Let's send this over to that SegWit. Let's have a little fun. All right, so I'll send 0.2 Litecoin. So let's hit send, and we'll do 0.2 Litecoin, which is only $24. And then we'll go back over here to our shadow wallet to get our address, and I'll do the Litecoin SegWit. All right, copy that. And we'll just paste that guy in here. All right, and there we go. So I've got a Litecoin SegWit. And there we go. I will click send. All right, it wants us to confirm on the device again. We'll do that. All right. Close. Okay. Now let's do the Stellar. So that's slightly different. So in this case, we're going to go to the Ledger. Oops. Quit the app. We're going to go over here to Stellar. And then we're going to go to the Stellar website. So we go to the Stellar website. Stellar.org. We're going to go to Wallets. Wallets. Ledger. Use the account viewer. And sign in with the Ledger. Okay, and as you can see, there's a balance. This is the wallet that I've used previously. So we want to send lumens. Now, how are we going to do that? We've got a lumens address over here, right? In our Shadow Wallet receiving addresses. We've got this receiving address. This is the address of the Shadow Wallet. We'll copy that. And we'll go back over here and put that guy in here. Boom, there it is. How much are we going to send? Oh, let's send 100. Just to be... All right, so we got 100 lumens. And we don't really need to add a memo in this case. We're sending from one Stellar address to another. It's not necessary. Some of the online exchanges require memos because they maintain receiving addresses that they reuse. In order to differentiate whose lumen is going where, they have the memo field, but we don't need that. So I'm going to go ahead and send that 100 lumens over. And yes. All right, and then I'll confirm on the device. And boom, there we go. Now, I had mentioned earlier that we have to go through this whole process of restoring. We don't really need to do that. All we need to do to confirm that these transfers worked is to check these out on the Explorers. So let's take this receiving address here, copy that, and let's go over here to Etherscan. Here we go, etherscan.io. Etherscan.io is a blockchain explorer for the Ethereum blockchain. So let's just paste in that public address that we sent to. That's our Shadow Wallet public address. And looky there. There's an ETH balance of 0.1. So we know that we have successfully transferred over to our Shadow Wallet Ethereum address. So we've confirmed that transaction. So now we can go ahead and transfer whatever amount that we would like. If it's a large amount, we can transfer it out to the Shadow Wallet. So, and then there's also a Litecoin Explorer. All right, that's Block Cipher. Let's go back over here and let's get that Litecoin SegWit address that we transferred to. And let's put that guy in here. Hit search. Ah, it's telling me it's an invalid address. Isn't that great? SegWit. Oh, I want to do that. Okay. Okay, so Litecoin is a little more complicated because I chose to use a Litecoin SegWit. There's a little bit of trouble with the Litecoin explorers in checking the balance, but like I said, we could just do the full restore of the shadow wallet on the ledger, and then you'll be able to check the balance from the ledger. So in order to confirm that we've actually sent the Litecoin, we'll probably want to do that. But let me see, I'm going to poke around here a little bit. Let's see if I can do that. Let's see what that does. Okay. I guess let's try that. All right, so it did a little convert there. Let's see what happens when I put this in the Blockchain Explorer. Huh. Well, what do you know? So I had to do just a quick convert in order to view the address on the Block Cipher Explorer, but I can see there that I have received the 0.2 Litecoin, and everything is great. Let's see if they have a Stellar viewer. Let's see here, Stellar. Or if that even makes sense for Stellar. Stellar Chain IO. Well, there you go. Check that guy out. Let's put in that Stellar. Let's go to our addresses here. Let's put in that Stellar address that we sent to. Pop that guy in there. Let's see what happens. Wow. Okay. So on the Stellar Explorer, I can see that there is a balance of 100 Stellar on there, and that we've managed to transfer it over. That's pretty darn cool. All right. So I'm going to leave the rest of this as an exercise. You see what to do. You've got the addresses. I sent small amounts just to confirm that I had the addresses right, that the transfers went through okay. I am now fully confident that I can transfer money to my Shadow wallet, and I can check the balances to make sure that the transactions went through. So I think we're in pretty good shape, guys. Okay, so for those of you who are planning on transferring some Bitcoin to your Shadow wallet, I'll go ahead and go through that. I myself don't have a huge amount of Bitcoin, but I will go through the process just so you'll see. All right, so we'll go back over here to apps, and we're going to go to the Ledger Wallet Bitcoin. Let's get this out of the way. We need to make sure that we're in Bitcoin on our ledger. So we're going to want to switch over to our Bitcoin. Find it. There we go. We'll go into Bitcoin. Let's see. I think that the bulk of my Bitcoin, I think I have some Bitcoin in Legacy. Yeah, I'm just going to do a small amount. Now, it could be in Legacy, it could be in Segwit, whatever the case may be. The process is very similar. So I have some Bitcoin in this little account here. It's a small amount, but I'm going to go ahead and send it over to the Shadow wallet just so that we can confirm that the Bitcoin is working. So we're going to do a send, and I'll just max it out because it's just a small amount. Remember, whatever balance you have, you can manually enter here. In this case, I just hit max. I'm going to send it all because it's just a small amount. Now, here we go. I'm going to send it to the Bitcoin address that of the Shadow wallet. So we'll copy that, and we'll paste that guy in here, and we're ready to go. Yes, you want to make sure you're using the right address, and then we'll hit send. And it wants me to confirm on the device, which I will do. All right. And it said that the transaction succeeded. Okay, and there you see it went out. It is unconfirmed now, but that does not mean that you don't have it. It just means you can't spend it. Don't panic when you see unconfirmed. That is how the blockchain works. It's going to be unconfirmed for a little while until the blockchain has had time to actually confirm the transaction several times as new blocks are added to the blockchain. But that's how the blockchain works. Don't panic. So now let's just look at that address and see if we can see our balance. Blockchain Explorer. That's blockchain.info. Right? See, it should take us right there. Now let's paste that in and hit enter. And there we go. As you can see, there is a transaction, and that small amount of Bitcoin has been received into this wallet. Here's our address. Okay? One transaction, Bitcoin received, and that's the final balance. And so we can confirm that we actually sent that small amount of Bitcoin to the shadow wallet address. So everyone's situation is going to be different. You have different cryptocurrencies, different amounts, but I think I've gone over the major ones on how we've created the shadow address. We've created the shadow wallet on the ledger. We've noted all of the receiving addresses, which we need. You may have more than I did, but you get all those receiving addresses, you keep them somewhere where you have reference to them, and then you can go back to your original Ledger wallet or your Coinbase account or your Binance account or wherever you have crypto that you want to put into the long-term storage, and then use those receiving addresses to send the crypto to the shadow wallet. All right, so that's it. I know it was complicated. I know it was long and drawn out, but we have just a quick overview. We created a shadow wallet on our Ledger Nano S. And the way that we did that was we did a full reset of the ledger. We created a brand new wallet. We wrote down the recovery phrase of this brand new wallet. We installed the apps, noted the wallets, and we installed the apps and opened up the wallets that we wanted to use, and then we noted the receiving addresses, right? We took those receiving addresses and we create a little text file or a handwritten file, whichever you think is more secure. And then we did another reset of the ledger. We restored our original ledger configuration, and then we went in and did some transfers to these shadow wallet receiving addresses. And then we went on the blockchain explorers and confirmed that these transfers were successful. And now we are ready to transfer, let's say, large portions of our cryptocurrency to the shadow wallet. Now keep in mind that your shadow wallet is totally dependent on this recovery phrase. Okay, so the shadow wallet doesn't exist. If someone finds your ledger, they will not have access to any of the crypto that you've transferred to the shadow wallet. It's all here. So you want to keep this in a very, very, very safe place, and make sure you know where it is and what it is, so that you will be able to restore to it if you ever want to withdraw those long-term cryptos that you have stored there. So that's all there is to it. This is the way to create our shadow wallet using our Ledger Nano S, and then keep it in safe cold storage by just storing that 24-word recovery phrase in a safe place. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure and leave a like if you liked the video. And if you would like to subscribe to my channel, I would appreciate it. When you do, there's a little bell next to the subscribe button, which will allow you to be alerted whenever I post a new video. Once again, thanks for joining me, and hope to see you again.